guys, I'm back with another one, and today, we're going to be looking at BTC, see what's going on with BTC at the minute. To me personally, it just looks like a little flush out. What's going on, taking out this low here, and then potentially coming back in towards these areas here. But we will go through that in the video. I'm going to have a little look at BTC dominance, I'm going to have a little look at USDT dominance. I'm going to have a little look at total too, and I'm going to also have a look at just total, which is the whole crypto market cap. So yeah, let's get straight into it, guys. So I'm on BTC and I'm having a little look. We tried to hold this level here, which we failed to do so, which was pretty obvious what was going to happen. Like I said before, we haven't closed below this zone yet. This is today's candle, so it wouldn't surprise me now if we have a little move back into this zone, potentially taking out them, and then we get a close below this zone. The next day we come back in with test, and then we do something like this to come and take out these late longers that we've got down here at the minute. So that's my personal take on BTC at the minute. That's what I'm looking at. We can also we'll go into my Atos. Currently, I have taken a little long on BTC to come back up into this zone here. That's my current play. A little long in BTC up into this zone. Swipe out all these here, these late shorters in these zones, and then we do have the flush that's incoming at these areas of interest. As of now, I'm still watching CVD, the cumulative volume delta at the minute. It did come down, but if we're having a little look here now, so we've had a low, excuse me, a low, we've had a higher low, and then we've had a higher low on CVD. So that's showing me that the shorters that are shorting down here, which is a very, very silly move, they are getting absorbed at the minute. And it wouldn't surprise me if we did come back up into these zones here, even a retrace back to this zone here, where we're going to have short limits. You can see the short limit there. We've got another short limit there. And then we've got all these long limits down in these zones here. So if we go back to my other chart and have a little look here, that's at around 111k. Go back into the Atos platform, and if we look here at around 110k, which is the zone of interest, you're going to get a flush sideways and then a buy back up. Excuse me, what's going on there? Because also another thing why I've taken this long, if we're having a little look at these candles here, we can clearly see that we've got this low here, which is around here, and we've had a slight divergence on BTC at the minute. The market is probably going to keep going sideways for a little bit before we do push off. And these shorters here, they're going to be like, oh, I need to get out, and they'll leave a closer positions, which is going to cause a buy limit, and then it's going to bam, well, the buy market, at market, and then it's just going to push off up to these zones here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we just mess around here for a little bit and then push off. That's my opinion. It might not go like that, but that's one thing that I can see. Also, what we're looking at here, open interest started to decline around here. But if you're having a little look at that candle, it would a fairly bullish candle here. On that candle there, it were bullish, open interest had done something completely different to what it looked like on the candle. There's a lot of news coming out today as well. Trump's having a meeting with, I think it's Zelensky. So, you know, this could really rocket the market if a peace deal does get made. If they're struggling to make that peace deal, you know, it could have the adverse effect, and my levels then will be invalidated. But potentially, this here as well is also 50% of the range that I can see at the minute. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if we did come back up into this zone at some point this week, and then we did have the flush out around these areas here. But my first area of interest at the minute is around 116k-ish. 116,600, 116,560, around that area. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So yeah, that's my play at the minute. We'll see how it plays out. Sorry, I needed a quick drink then. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. ETH. Excuse me. ETH. Similar scenario with ETH. We're in this zone here. You know, we're in this zone here. You know, we're at a current value area low at the minute in ETH. These untested areas down here. So, as I've got marked out, you know, it wouldn't surprise me with ETH if it comes back up. See now, because we're on the daily, this now, for me, personally, I'd be marking out this level now. That's now an area of interest for me. We come back up into here and show weakness, then yeah, we could start to tumble down towards these zones. At the minute, there ain't a lot of volume there. All the volume is back in this area. So I will keep my eye on ETH. If we go into the 4-hour chart on ETH, somebody cracked me up earlier, and I don't, you know, I'm not slagging off patterns. If you want to trade patterns and it works for you, it works for you. Somebody cracked me up here and said that was a diamond floor pattern the other day, and it absolutely, I burst out laughing, because I just thought, what the fuck is a diamond floor pattern? I've heard them all now. I've heard the Adam and Eve, I've heard the Barry and Steve, I've heard the knife and fork, I've heard the cup and ball sack, and it just, my head, like, blows with it. Do you really think that big players, like, I mean, big hedge funds, think, oh, that's a cup and ball sack pattern? They genuinely, they do not give a fuck. Do you know what they care about? They care about, oh, now I've messed that line up, it's all right, sorted out. They care about where orders are. Where orders are. Where orders are. They don't give a shit about you, Barry and Steve. They're not bothered. They'll mark out levels like I do. Levels of interest where they can either take a long or they can take a short from. They'll look at the orders and say, right, there's built up orders here. Let's have a look. 399.40 and at 4.1. So we've got a 2k order there at 4.1. They're small orders. Got a big order there of 4,050, another 2k order. And then round here, around 4k, we've got a 3k order sat in ETH. And then we can go all the way up to the top of the zone here, where we had a rejection from. And if we have a look, where did it reject from? That really needs to be sorted out properly. Have a little look. 4788. Oh, a 3k sell order in ETH, which made the market plummet. At 4,800, we've got a 4k sell order. And Do you know these literally can be removed? I'm not saying that, oh yeah, it's going to go there, blah blah. But what I am saying is I can see these orders that are in here, and that gives me confluence then to think, right, we could potentially be rejecting from there. That's what I do. I don't give a fuck about your diamond floor pattern, your cup and ball sack pattern. I'm not bothered. But what I can also see in ETH is a 7k limit sell order at around 5k. So that gives me high confluence. We have an all-time high here where I know a lot of people will start to sell from the all-time high. But with me, I'll probably wait until it gets to around this zone before I take a little sell on ETH. Yeah, we could have a reaction here at all-time high, but there isn't a lot of orders in here. But around here, there is. So that's going to show me I can take a little sell from here, possibly a little sell from here, and my main sell will be around here. Going further up, when my PC don't lag, I'll tell you something, I need to get a new PC. So if I zoom this in, that's not a lot of order. I thought it was going to be a bigger order than that. It's not. How big's that order? Not that big either. How big's that order? It's probably about 3k, maybe 2k. Let's have a look. At 6k. Yeah, it's a 2k order. And this is where big players are going to be wanting to sell their ETH. You know, coming up into here. How big's that order? That's probably about a k. Yeah, there you go. It's a you know, I've done this long enough. I can generally see what size that order is. So, looking at ETH at the minute, there is a potential that it comes back up towards this zone here, and even back towards this zone here. I don't know if, personally, these moves that are occurring at the minute are little moves to get people involved, and then this big buy order here then rockets the market back up towards there. I'd love to see a little retest here, and I might start to build a short, but it's risky. I'll be best off waiting to build a long down here, which is an untested point of control at the minute. We do have daily untested point of controls a little bit further down as well. But I will keep my eye on these levels on ETH. You know, and if we're having a little look, that coincides with the level that I've got marked out here as well. So, you know, and this is why I've got levels marked out. So let me have a little look. Let me come off of this. So BTC right now is just going sideways at the minute. I'm expecting a flush up in here and a nice little flush. It's looking like we've flushed a lot of these late longers here. The volume delta is still negative at the minute. It did turn positive there, but you know, it turned positive here. You know, this is what it's not really worrying me at the minute. You know, I'm just gonna watch, see where it potentially goes. But that's an area of interest, like I pointed out in BTC. Right, now let's go on to here. This is the total market cap. Let's move these down a minute. So the total market cap. So I were looking at it. I can probably even put that a little bit better. So these are the only really things where you want to be putting a trend line on, right? And I've seen a zone here. If we get it there, let's get it marked up properly, yeah? because it was just me messing around. So if we're having a look at this here, you know, and I don't know what they call it because I don't use them, but really on total and things like that, I can't really, you know, it's not something that you can really predict with total. It's harder to predict. Let me get this back in right. So if we get it from there, let me grab this, let me pull this down to here. Okay, they're saying that's the sort of move that's going to be occurring in total. Okay, and that's, I think that were on the weekly that I originally marked it out. To me, I don't know, because where we are at the minute, if you look where we are at the minute, isn't that the midpoint? That's the midpoint on total at the minute. So, you know, if they are using these trend lines, this technically could come down to here, you know, which is going to absolutely smash the market. Or it could go up towards this area here. So where we are at the minute, is it advisable to take a trade? You could probably put another trend line in here if you really wanted to. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if it goes down there. So, you know, I'm just thinking about it and watching at the minute. So, right, let's do USDT dominance while we're at it. So USDT dominance has now come back to the area of interest that I had pointed out. We never came into here, so in effect, I wasn't really interested in much. You know, a few scalps maybe here and there. But now we're back in here, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if we did, you know, eventually come back down towards this zone here. If we're getting back up above here, and we are holding and we're consolidating inside it for a few days, then, you know, there's no saying that we can go back up towards this area here. So, you know, I'd just be really, really careful with what you're doing at the minute in the market, because we're in no man's land. But if you're watching other channels, like, what they're called now, Sausage, I don't even want to plug them, because they're all full of crap. There's only one good trader on that channel. One good trader. But we'll leave that where it is. That's what I'm thinking about USDT dominance. And then we've got BTC dominance. That the original, you can go back and look at my video, the original where we come into here and then we reject and come down towards these zones here. That was my original thought with BTC dominance. Now at the minute we're consolidating inside this area in BTC dominance. So it's hard to predict which way that this is going to go. You know, that the downside is probably the better scenario, but if it comes back into here and then pushes off, you know, it's a zone that's not really being tested yet, so it could be tested. But it's just going to be a fairly short one today, guys. You know, it's hard to predict at the minute. You know, there's a lot of fluff in the market. There's lots and lots of fluff in the market at the minute, and there's a lot of people that are over leveraged, and you know that generally will cause the market to do flushes like this. So you know, it's one of them things that you need to be watching out for. So I would really just watch what we're doing and just be careful with your trades. Don't overestimate the market and don't underestimate the market, and don't over leverage, and don't put more money in than you can really afford to be losing in the market at the minute, in my opinion. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to get off now, and I will be back probably at the end of the week. I'll do another video at the end of the week. And, you know, I've got my links in the description below. You can have a little look at them. You know, we're in Discord now. You can see all Discord things coming up. AO community. You know, come into there, have a little look, see what you think. And, you know, you're going to find some really good traders in there. So come along and have a little look. Like I say, all my links are in the description below. So, you know, buy me a coffee, all things like that. Have a little gander, and that's going to be it from me today, guys. And I will catch you in the next one. Happy trading.